Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Yes, I'm still alive, and yes, I have a microphone. And as crappy as it is, it will have to do. But aside that, welcome to my latest mod, which is called Country Balls mod, which involves a lot of countries around the world that basically have weapons, tanks, and they work together, they fight each other, and all that good stuff. This right here is going to be the biggest project that I'm ever going to make. So big actually that I'm actually not even near done with it yet. I'm actually only 1/4 of it done. But I decided to release a demo of it just to get you guys have a taste of what it is. And to be honest, it has been a while since I've released anything. That study abroad program I mentioned before is a complete excuse because I'm not bringing my laptop overseas. But back to the subject, it's been a while since I've done anything or posted anything basically for Minecraft, so I figured it'd be a good idea to release a demo of what I'm currently working on for this mod here, and let you guys try it out for yourselves and see what you think for it. But also, I'm also need a big announcement saying that I need your guys' help, specifically for this mod. And I never really asked for help before. In any cases, basically, all these mods and projects I've ever done before have been by myself, basically. I've never had any help with it besides an additional, and maybe a little ask question here or there for like some Discord servers, just to get around some programming areas. But for this project and specifically, let me say right now, it is a very huge project, and it combines two things that I like the most, which is game programming and culture. So I decided to combine that into one and decided to make this project right here. But along with it, because it's such a big project, there's a lot of ideas and opportunities for it that I haven't come up with yet. And I'm going to explain that exactly later. But right now, I have only 5 countries available right now that are completely done and made, which is the USA, Canada, Mexico, the UK, and France. Those are the 5 countries that you will see inside the demo for now. As for the other countries, they're not made yet, but for the full project release, there is going to be 20 countries total in this entire project, and I'll explain the list later of what countries are going to be presented. And I need a drink. And yeah, it's going to be a lot. And let me tell you, the reason why it's so big is it's not only because there's going to be 20 different mods, but because there's so much stuff built into each and every one of these. And I'm going to explain. So let me give you a good inside representation of what is inside every single ball that you're going to country ball that you're going to find, because there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of stuff. So I'm going to use the USA as an example just for default. I'm not going to go over every single country unless I need to explain something. I'm going to leave that, guys, for you to just explore and look at yourself to make it a little more surprise. But we're going to use America as our example. So there are multiple types of, how do you say, figures in every country ball, just the US alone. What I'm going to try to get right now, it's first form, but the figurines you might get here are actually random with different weights happening. But the majority of the time you're going to get this first form, which is, I got on the first try, awesome, is country ball right here. This little guy that just kind of wanders around and everywhere, and they're honestly, they're just docile. They actually do not do anything. You can attack them, they don't do anything. They don't follow you or anything. The only thing you can really do is kind of feed them copper, which will make them grow up, or you can just wait for them to grow up anyway. But this is the first stage of all country balls. Every single country ball and all these eggs right here will have these guys right here, and they won't do really anything. But it's the second forms that they will take which will do something. And this guy will probably grow up to become one of those forms. And what we're probably going to get from this guy is going to be pretty much random. what you can do is you can feed it copper to make it grow up a little faster. And voila, you then get a country human, as far as I would like to call it right here. And this is usually what you would most likely see in any of them. But I'm going to kill this guy for now because we will talk about that one later. I'm going to get the next form of stage, which is just this guy. He's the same thing, but without the shotgun behind him. And this is the standard form of the human model that you will see. And this includes for every country, there is a different kind of clothes design and a hat as well. My rule is every country must have a hat on at least, so you're going to see hats in at least all of them. But these are where things get interesting. So these are citizens, country citizens, as I like to call it, basically. And they also have a trade table that you can look at too. The trade tables were not in here before, but I decided to make it more interesting and include it. So you can trade some stuff, and each of them have like kind of items that are somewhat related to their own country of origin. Although Minecraft doesn't really provide that many items that are culturally diverse, so I just kind of did the best I could. Some of them just have random stuff that they sell, but it's whatever. That's not really what's important. What's important is how they interact. So let me get into survival mode here, and I'm going to show you what happens when I punch this guy in the face, and he starts attacking me with what I probably just call a survival knife. And yes, so they're not hostile, but they will attack you if you attack them. Oops. But I will say right now that only this one in particular, these humans in particular, are the ones that kind of attack. Most of the time in different country balls, such as I would say probably Canada and UK, those humans won't actually fight back, but they will actually just run away. But some of them will do stuff differently, just to probably fit in. It's kind of random. It depends on what ideas I have for them, but that's pretty much what this guy does, and we'll move on to the next form of stage, which will be the weapons. And we got the shotgun guy back. Nice, nice. So basically, there are two types of weaponry that each country ball kind of has. And the USA's cases, there are mostly guns, but in weapons case, they can be guns, they can be melee weapons. It all depends on what culturally diverse items I want to give them, and because it's the USA, obviously guns would fit the best for them, obviously. And this one in particular has somewhat of a shotgun, basically, so if I go ahead and attack him, he will shoot me like a spread shot, basically. You can kind of see how it's kind of a spread shot, basically, and he'll just keep fighting back. And these guys also will attack monsters and also enemy countries as well. Okay, this got to be changed up here. That's definitely not the Canada ball. That's got to be fixed. But all bugs will probably be fixed in the future. But as I said, these guys will attack monsters nearby and will attack enemy countries. And I will explain what enemy countries are later, although I guess you could take a guess. But let me try getting the other... let me get the other country weapon out, see if it'll come on first try. And wow, it actually did. I'm surprised. And like I said, what comes out of this egg is completely random, and it does give me a headache sometimes, but sometimes it's nice to me. And so this one here is the second weaponized USA country human. I probably should come up with better names for this, but that's besides the point. And these guys basically just have AKs, and they kind of just do the same thing, but they shoot you pretty differently. So instead of having a spread shot, they shoot you directly, and they do in kind of a line of fire, basically. My goal is to try to make every single country as diverse as possible to make it more interesting, so I don't really want to give every single country the same weapons, although I guess at some point it might have to be done, because there's probably only so many weapons I can give each and every one of them. But I'm trying to make it as diverse as possible. And as for guns, though, I am not really the best gun expert, so that's not my expertise. But for melee weapons, it's going pretty well. But we'll see. This is where you guys come in, but I will explain that later what I need exactly help with. But let's get into the next model, which might take a while, which would be the leader. And there we have it. There is the leader, or I like to call it the flag holder for the USA. Now these are a little more rare to spawn, but you'll have a better chance if you raise up a country ball, as far as I remember. And these guys were originally planning to let the other regular USA citizens follow, but unfortunately I couldn't figure out how to program that, and again, I'm not really that advanced when it comes to any kind of programming, and believe me, I've actually really tried, but I've actually asked a lot of people on like the Discord servers asking the same question, like how do you do this, and even they don't know, and unfortunately I had to scrap the idea, but aside from that, they actually do play a very good role when it comes to anything in particular, such as this. They will melee attack with the flag on its own, and you can basically see right there how they just kind of just whacked zombie. In fact, any kind of monster or enemy country they will see. I'm gonna kill it so he doesn't die because I'm gonna need him more. And let me see if I can do this. Here, perfect. So basically, what happens is that what makes him a good leader is that if you attack them and them only, the rest of the other USA country people will also attack you as well. So basically, if they see their leader get attacked, they will come fight right back at you, and you could get a whole horde on your ass. So you want to be very careful and treat them with respect. You want to treat all of them with respect. Of course, if you hurt a gun person, only they and they alone will come and attack you. Only the flag holders and actually the country balls, the little guys that run around, can actually alert everyone else. So if you attack a country ball with these around here, they will also come and beat your ass up. There's also one more character in each one that will also do the same thing, which I will get into later. But one more thing you should know, actually there's two more things you should know. So let me drag this guy out. Let me drag this guy out here because he's being a little coward, doesn't want to see my face. If you give any of these flag holders a diamond, that's not what I wanted. And he's doing it again. Get over here. Yeah, if you happen to give him a diamond, and as you probably seen in the last video, they will strike a pose and they will play their entire national anthem for the duration of the period, basically. This doesn't really do anything, it's just a little fun thing that you can just look at, basically. And yes, this will be involved in all the countries, so you will see the same thing for every flag holder. But if you happen to kill one of them, though, you will get bad omen, as you would get from, pillaging and all that. And of course, you kill me because I killed the flag holder. But what that does is that if you go into a village, you obviously get raided by pillagers. Unfortunately, again, I'm not an advanced programmer, so I couldn't figure out a way to let it get invaded by Americans, which would have been way cooler. So unfortunately, it's just pillagers, but it's still a good idea just to leave them alone and not interfere with them, basically. And you can see the anthem still playing in the background. That will end soon. But in any case, let's get on to the next one, the next model in the American thing. And as I said before, and you can see now that there's a lot of stuff in just a single egg, right? We're not even done yet. We're not even close to being done yet. We have 2 more models to go, and this next model will be actually a new addition that I actually currently just added in for every country balls, which is actually females. And as soon as I get it up, I will show you guys that. And boom, there it is. This is the American female, basically. And as much as this is a new improvement, they actually really wouldn't do much. Well, aside from this one specifically, aside from the American females specifically, because I had a good idea for them. But basically, it includes that if you attack any kind of females, they will also send an alert sound and will have other same countries come and attack you as well. So there's 3 things that will send the alert, which are the country balls, the leaders, and then the females. And most of the time, the females, they're not actually that. They don't actually have that much. Actually, I think most of the females will actually decide to flee more than anything. But, improvements here and there can be made for it. But an American female specifically, if you attack them, if you get far away enough, basically, they will hysterically take out their cell phone and start taking selfies of you, which doesn't hurt you, but it will slow you down. Of course, if you also get near them, well, in this case, it doesn't work like that, only for towards monsters, but they will also attack monsters in a similar way by just slowing them down. But if monsters go near them, they will simply just run away, basically. And that's just a little funny thing I added. I might as well just add here is that a lot of these countries are going to have stereotypes, but funny. They're going to be funny and appropriate stereotypes, and she's still taking selfies of me. Get out of here. Oh, and before I kill her, actually, I want to say that the females also have a trading table. I should have mentioned that only the regular citizen country balls and the female ones have trading tables. The rest of them do not, so you can only get trading from those two ones. But basically, as I was saying before, that every country is going to have some stereotypes in their own way, but they're supposed to be fun and family friendly, basically. And I'm not, and I repeat, not going to include any kind of stereotypes that are just bad in general. For example, and when I get to Germany, I am not going to include a certain leader. I'm going to do something completely different. So, everything here has stereotypes, but stereotypes that are at least fun and enjoyed to laugh at everyone else. Nothing, no extreme ones that are actually legit terrible. So just remember that. But there's one more model that I need to show you. Yes, we're not done yet. And this is actually the biggest one that will appear in any kind of country ball, and it's actually the biggest one. Okay, we're back, and I actually had to go back into the code, and then I realized that there was a mishap in the code, and that was the reason why it wasn't spawning, but it should spawn now, and there it is. There it is, the tank of America right there, tank of the USA. It's one thing, it's huge, and it's actually extremely rare to spawn in, but for this case in particular, I just edited it so it would be easy for me, but that's not the point. What the point is that this is the super powerful thing right here that you can actually sit on and ride. Every tank in every country ball actually you can ride on, so you can go and have fun with that, and they just move around and stuff. And of course, we can't forget about how they fight. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. And that's actually an extremely powerful thing to have, actually. One shot. Even when they're wearing armor, that is a one-shot thing. So, every single country ball, as I said, has something like this. Although, I decided to actually get more creative, and instead of just adding regular old tanks to every country, I decided to get more creative in having just a super powerful enemy, and you'll find that out for every country actually. But the rules are for tanks is that they have to have at least 100 health, they have to be rideable, and they just have to be very powerful. So as long as they fit all those descriptions, they count as a tank in my book. And you'll find some of the tanks are just hilarious, but I'll leave that as a surprise for you guys. But in any case, yes, this is the most powerful thing for every single country. It is the rarest thing to find, and this is also the last thing for the USA. So what does that include? That includes country balls, the humans, the 2 weapons, that's 4, the leaders, the females, and the tanks. So there are 7 different types of there are 7 different types of something. There are 7 dips. So there are 7 different types of the USA, basically, all in one ball. You can see how much just one actually holds in, and that goes for each and every other country here. So that's one thing of what makes this such a really big project. This alone right here, the USA alone, is big project enough already, considering that this was the first giant thing I've ever made. And it definitely took a while, but it still looks good regardless. And imagine me doing the same thing for all 20 countries. It's a lot of work, but I'm willing to do it. one more thing I forgot to mention about the females, and this is just a small fact, but I actually was planning to make them breedable, basically. And that means just basically if you gave them something, it's kind of just like animals, basically. And if they just breed with another country, they would just form like a country ball. That was a funny idea I also had in mind. Unfortunately, the execution did not work out too well because let me explain. So every single country has their own family type, right? Literally every single type here in the USA is the family type of the USA. That means that anything that she breeds against, the females breed against, could be any part of the USA, including the tanks. So they could, so if the breeding thing was still in effect, they would breed with tanks. And that, as funny as that sounds, I just didn't like the idea. And in order to actually make it actually work properly, it would be way too much time and energy because I would have to separate literally every single type inside the USA ball in their own separate like component groups. That's so much effort just for that one little thing that I just kind of scrapped the idea. So they don't breed, but I still kept them in because why the heck not? And that concludes the USA Country Ball. And there are 4 more country balls for you to explore. So I hope you guys have fun with this. Make sure to report any kind of bugs or errors or anything like that, and I'll do my best to fix it. Let me know your feedback in case you like it. But aside from that, let me explain to you what exactly I need help with. As I said before, this is a big project, and there's a lot of things that I can think of. However, there's a lot of ideas for each country that I do not have yet. As I said before, 5 countries are already done, which is the USA, Canada, Mexico, United Kingdom, and France. And the countries that are left waiting to be made are Spain, Germany, Brazil, Italy, Sweden, Russia, China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, Nigeria, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, India, and Greece. Those are the other 15 countries that have yet to be made, and I haven't even started on any of them yet because I just finished with the females. And I decided to include a demo right after I was done doing that. So with so many countries, there are so many rooms for any kind of ideas that I actually don't have for most of them. For example, I know exactly what I want to do with the Japan country ball, yet I have no idea what I want to do with the Brazil country ball. So what I'm asking for help is with ideas, cultural wise, for every single country on the list. I do have ideas already listed down, but I could still use more. And another reason why this project takes so long is just the amount of research that I had to do for each and every country, basically. I've been looking through movies, some maybe TV shows, just for like even some documentaries, and I've been even reading some articles, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of reading, but I've even went out of my way of doing that. Yet I still don't really have that many ideas for each one, and that's where you guys come in. Basically, I want you guys to help me come up with some ideas that could be helpful and could be really cool and unique for every country basically on the list, and that would help me out a lot if you guys can think of some cool stuff. Now here are some of the ideas that here are some of the categories of ideas that I actually need help with. First one would probably be outfits and hats. Every single country has their own outfit that has to be related to their culture, and of course that goes with the hats as well. Some of them I don't actually have those yet, so that'd be cool to think of some cool outfit ideas, not just for the regular citizens, but also for the females to have different outfits as well, and also the flag holders, which are actually based off more important outfits. For example, the USA flag holder is actually based off of the Uncle Sam poster. You know, the We Want You poster. I thought that would be really cool to just have a different outfit for the flag holders, and I was right, basically. So every single country flag holder you will see as some important figure, such as like the Canada flag holder is like pretty much a Canadian Ranger, basically. And the UK is basically those castle guards with the big black fluffy hats, stuff like that. I still need more ideas for different kinds of flag holders though, and that's what I could use your help with too. So aside from outfits and hats for each every design, the next one would be, well, weapons. Again, Every country is meant to have at least 2 different types of weapons, and for most of them, I haven't really got a clue of what to give them. I don't just want to give them any kind of random weapons. I want to make sure every country sticks to their own culture in their own way or form. So I want to try to give them weapons that at least fit to their own culture as best to my best ability. When it comes to guns, though, I am not a gun expertise, so I think last case scenario, I might just give them whatever. But for melee weapons, it's a must for them to stick to their own cultural aspect. So weapons are another key component of what I need help for ideas with here. The next thing would be actually biomes. And now I know what you're thinking. What the heck does biomes have to do with any of this? I didn't talk about biomes at all during this whole thing. Well, let me explain. They're actually, when I was going through the program, I figured it'd actually be pretty neat to just I thought it'd be pretty neat to just include biomes that each country would more likely spawn in. For example, since the USA country on itself contains like basically grasslands and deserts and even woods, I decided to make the US country ball spawn in plains, forests, and the desert. And I think the Badlands too, just a tiny bit of it. What I do is that I kind of take the number 100 and I divide that up for every biome that I want my country to spawn in, basically. So that number signifies how often or how rare a country will spawn in that specific biome. For example, I'm pretty sure the USA spawns in the plains mostly, but they don't spawn in the desert as often as they would spawn in the plains. So I divide that number up to make it look more accurate. However, there are some countries where I don't know what biomes they would actually spawn in, and I think most of those go down to European countries. I want to try to be as unique and creative as possible, so I'm hoping you guys can help me give an idea of what biomes each country would most likely spawn in to make it more effective. Next idea would actually be for tanks. As I said before, each tank is different, and it's not just a regular tank. Some of them, each tank is actually creative in their own way, and I guess I might as well spoil some now. The Mexico tank is literally just a Mexican wrestler, but it works. It works basically, and I just enjoy that. But that's pretty much the tank for Mexico. The UK tank is literally just a giant castle on wheels with cannons that shoot out of it. And the French tank is basically a flying ship that shoots out of a cannon in the front of it. So that's what I mean by tanks when I describe it. And I need more ideas to come up with just big things like that, basically, for each and every country. Because again, some of them I don't really have an idea of what I want to include yet. So I was hoping you guys can help me with that as well. It's just nice to give up any kind of ideas that I could potentially think about in the future when I'm making this. Last but not least, and this is the more complicated one, for me at least. It may not be complicated for you guys, but for me it will. And that is relationships between each and every country. And this is actually what I mentioned before about enemy countries, is that some countries don't get along, basically. But some countries will fight alongside each other. So let me explain how the relationships work. There used to be 3 actual relationships towards each and every one of them, which would be allies, neutral, and enemies. Allied countries basically would mean they would fight alongside each other. They can't hurt each other, and if one country actually gets attacked, the other country will actually come inside in and help them fight back, basically. So they're basically like buddy-buddies. So for example, USA and Canada are pretty much buddy-buddies, and they will just cooperate with one another in any way possible. Neutral just means that both countries won't even interact with each other unless one accidentally attacks another one. So only if fire is drawn accidentally, that's the only thing that would actually start a war. And finally, enemies. Basically, if two enemy countries see each other, they will immediately attack each other. And that's pretty much it, basically. So what I need your guys' help with is I need ideas for which countries would be allies, neutral, or enemies. But there's actually now a 4th type of relationship too, which is called friendly. And I added this because the ally relationship was actually going to be broken if I continued with just that. Let me see if I can explain how that works. So basically, if there are let's just say maybe we'll take Japan for an example. Japan will be really cool allies with, let's say, South Korea, and they would back each other up perfectly. But let's just say, what if Japan had another ally, and we're just going to take USA for example. So Japan is both allies with South Korea and America, but South Korea and America are just, let's just say, neutral. But they can accidentally attack each other. And what if one accidentally does? That would alert Japan to attack that one country. But they can't hurt it because they're allies. They can't do damage with one another. So then it just becomes a broken state where they just endlessly attack that one country, and yeah, you can see how that's just broken. So there's a fourth relationship called friendly, which basically means if a country attacks another country but they're friendly, they will do damage but they won't interact at all, basically. So hopefully that will fix it, but like I said before, this is not something you guys have to worry about. It's just something on my end. I just need your guys' help with coming up with what countries would be allies, neutral, or enemies. So that's just one more idea I could use help with. So to keep up with all these ideas, I'm actually making a Discord server completely based on my Minecraft mods, because I realized that YouTube comment section isn't really the best place to actually report bugs. It's just a Discord server would probably make it a lot cleaner, basically. And alongside just, reporting bugs and feedbacks in the servers, I'm also going to post a spot where you can give me your ideas for country boss and what I could potentially add or what would be really good to outfit them, which would be really helpful for me if you could help me out. So like I said, this is going to be a huge project. It's actually going to be so big that I'm not going to work on it straight on. I'm actually going to be taking breaks between each country to work on other side projects that I have on my list. And these side projects I'm actually not going to give out because I want it to be more of a surprise. I don't just want to spoil it, basically. But I wanted to make an announcement and give a demo of this now because it turns out I'm going to need more help with this. It is a big project and it's really big even for me to think about. And that's why I need more ideas at least. But there's one thing I can tell you right now is that the next country that will be coming out is Spain. I have yet to work on it, but that's the next country I have in mind. So if you have any quick ideas now, it'd be best to just give it to me now because I pretty much have Spain kind of set in stone. But if anyone has any additional ideas that they want to give me for it, of course now would be a good time to do such a thing. But for now, actually, this project's going to be on hold because I will be working on a separate project, so that's more than enough time to do that. And I guess I should say one more thing, is that something I added into the game is simply this helmet right here. So what this is pretty much what it does. Enemy country helmet, and basically if you put it on, you are just marked as an enemy for every single country and they will just immediately attack you. And this is just something I want to do for fun in case you wanted to challenge yourselves or anything. So aside from that, I feel like that's everything needed to explain for country balls for the time being, at least. I will be posting the Discord server in the description along with where you can download the demo for the mod, and you can play around with that. You can report any bugs to me, and you can also give me your feedback. I appreciate that a lot because I appreciate the feedback and you give me for these mods. I appreciate that people have fun with these. And I'll say right now, I'm definitely not the best Minecraft modder out there. I know there's like a lot of more expertise out there that are obviously better than me, and what program I use right now makes this a whole lot easier than what it needs to be, but I still appreciate the amount of support and love that you put into these mods, and it's kind of what encourages me to keep going with them. And believe me, I'm not running out of ideas. I have a whole list and a half I have in store for future projects, so don't you worry about that. It's just working up to there, that's just going to take a while, and this is most definitely going to be one of my biggest projects yet, and which is why I need your guys' help. So I would really appreciate it if you could lend me some ideas along my journey into making this, and I will keep you guys updated on which country I'm going to work on next, so you guys can just add in ideas during that time. But for now, thank you for listening. I know this is the big announcement. This is actually the first time I'm ever doing something like this. My commentary sucks ass, but hey, I did my best. But thank you very much. Thank you for all the love and support. I hope you guys enjoy the Minecraft mod, and I will see you guys next time. Take care now.